I personally severed the tangled knot of fate binding me to Elena Vance. She stayed in the comfort of D.C. while I volunteered for the remote frontier. She remained a civilian doctor. I signed myself away to a classified black site research facility. On my deathbed, she slashed her own wrists outside my isolation ward, begging for just one look. I ignored her, fighting through the agony. I scribbled down the final algorithmic data, completing my life's work before letting go. When she heard the news, she vomited blood. "Caleb Stone, why couldn't you look back at me even once in this life?" Elena Vance was the only daughter of a decorated Army general, an Ivy League PhD, while I was just a dirt-poor nobody from the Appalachian hollers who'd grown up hungry. Fate should never have let our paths cross, but General Vance had been wounded in combat years ago, saved by my mother's rudimentary field dressing skills. Elena marrying me was supposed to be a debt of honor. The day before our wedding in the previous timeline, Julian Blackwood's wife had died in a car accident while running an errand for Elena. On her deathbed, she made Elena swear to take care of Julian and his son. That became Elena's eternal excuse. In that past life, I gave up my dreams of the Frontier program, taking on the burden of caring for Elena's family, slaving away for them like a draft horse. The result? The mother-in-law I had nursed for a decade like my own flesh and blood begged me on her deathbed. "Caleb, Elena has paid her debt to you with her happiness. Let her go. My daughter hasn't smiled in years." Even my own son, the boy I raised with everything I had, looked at me with cold eyes and said, "Dad, the one who isn't loved is the third wheel. Mom has been miserable for years because of you. Just let her be with Uncle Julian." My suffering meant nothing to them. After Elena's parents passed, I agreed to the divorce and headed back to the mountains. It was a beautiful day, though my legs were failing me by then. A landslide swept my car off the road. Buried under tons of earth, my pathetic life ended. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day the general's men came to collect me. "Mr. Stone, your father passed away 3 days ago. He dedicated his entire existence to this country. We are grateful for his sacrifice. We are here to fulfill his final wish. He entrusted you to General Vance, hoping the general would look after you for old time's sake. Mr. Stone, can you hear us? Please pack your things. You're coming to the Vance estate." I blinked, my eyes focusing on the 3 officers in dress blues and the black government SUV parked outside our shack. "Mr. Stone, the mission is still classified. Please forgive us, but we cannot publicly announce your father's heroism, nor can we bring back his remains. Please pack your bag." A small, heavy box was pressed into my hands. The 3 officers couldn't bear to look at me. A man leaves whole and healthy, bears the stigma of abandoning his wife and child for years, and comes back as nothing but a small square box, not even ashes, just an empty vessel for a flag. I close my eyes, my body trembling uncontrollably. It was like fate's cruel script. 10 days ago, my mother succumbed to illness. Shortly after she passed, my father followed. I was left entirely alone, a piece of driftwood in a storm. I packed my meager belongings and hurried into the SUV, clutching that small box to my chest. Inside was $50 in cash and a stack of government bonds. I didn't know if it was what my father had saved or the government's compensation. In my past life, I resented him. I blamed him for choosing the country over our family. But in this life, I would follow in his footsteps without hesitation. When General Vance learned I didn't want the marriage and instead wanted to apply for the Frontier Defense Initiative in Alaska, he gave me a strange look. When my mother was alive, she often spoke of the debt the general owed her, insisting Elena was destined to be my wife. The whole military district, even my home village, knew of the arrangement. Previously, I had played the part of the devoted fiancé to please her. But when the wedding loomed, I backed out. "Are you sure, Caleb? I know Elena can be willful, but you two have known each other for years. There's a foundation there, General Vance said, looking through me to the ghosts of my parents. Besides, this was your parents' wish. They wanted you to marry, have children, and live a peaceful life. He couldn't bear to see me step into danger. My father had served under him. My mother had saved him from a burning Humvee. Our fates were tangled. I smiled. Thank you, General, but my mind is made up. The selection exams are coming up. My target is Alaska. It was the only hope I had in this life. The General remained silent for a long time, but couldn't sway me. Fina, we'll discuss canceling the engagement after you pass the exams. Until then, stay at the estate. Try to get along with Elena. I stumbled as I walked out of the study. I remember the first time I saw Elena Vance. She had come to our village on a medical volunteer trip. Beautiful, kind. She stole my heart with a glance. Giving her up felt like carving out a piece of my own flesh. And my unborn son. He looked like her. Handsome. But in my past life, he hated me. He said he wished he'd never been born rather than be my son. They all resented me. If that was the case, I would let go with dignity. 2 weeks, just 2 weeks until the exams, and I would be gone. I walked into the guest room, prepared for me, and took out my textbooks. "Why are you in my house?" Elena walked in, bathed in the evening light. She was wearing a stunning designer dress, her hair perfectly curled, her face flushed as if she'd been running. Behind her stood Julian Blackwood in a crisp uniform. I clearly saw the brand-new luxury watch on his wrist, a gift from Elena, a watch I had admired in shop windows for months, saving pennies, hoping to buy it one day. "The General sent people to pick me up," I said quietly, my hand tightening on my sleeve. Last night on the phone, I had begged Elena to come with them to get me. She had replied impatiently, "I have things to do tomorrow. You know how many cases are waiting for me at the hospital. My time is literally human lives." She wouldn't accompany me to my father's memorial, but she had time to go shopping with Julian. "Couldn't you have come by yourself?" Elena muttered, then happily grabbed Julian's arm. "Julian, come see the gift I got you. Otherwise, he'll keep complaining that I don't care about him." "We probably shouldn't. Shouldn't you spend time with Caleb?" Julian made a show of awkwardly pulling his arm back, but Elena held on tight. "What's the point of spending time with him? Ever since his mom saved my dad, he's been at our house constantly. The whole family has thick skin." She waved her hand dismissively, unable to hide her excitement. I knew that look. It was reserved for Julian and his son. "It's a custom-made toy car I ordered for Leo." Elena's room was just one wall away from mine. The General arranged it this way to foster intimacy, but I just felt humiliated. At dinner time, Elena knocked on my door, sounding annoyed. "Come down to eat and watch what you say." She warned me not to talk too much in front of her father. I mumbled yes. She immediately put distance between us. Even the housekeeper, Maria, knew Elena avoided me like the plague. "Julian is here too." Mrs. Vance, who had been sitting listlessly, lit up. She practically shoved Julian into his seat. The dining table had 5 spots. With the housekeeper, there was no room for me. "Oh, I'm so sorry, Caleb. I wasn't thinking. Maybe you can sit over there." Mrs. Vance feigned realization, gesturing to a stool. "Look at my memory. You're the guest. How could I let Julian take your seat? You don't blame me, do you?" In the last life, she treated me with the same passive-aggressive disdain. Back then, I didn't understand why she preferred a widower with a child over me. Now I saw clearly. I was a hillbilly. I had no capital to claim a high society flower like Elena Vance. "It's fine, Mrs. Vance. I'm not hungry. I was going to go for a walk anyway." I grabbed a book to hide my embarrassment. The General coughed, mumbling something I couldn't hear. Not long after, the black SUV pulled up beside me as I walked down the driveway. It was Elena. She looked utterly impatient, disgust evident in her eyes. "Caleb Stone, it was just a seat. Why get my mother attitude? We feed you, house you, and treat you well, and this is how you act? Get in the car. Do I have to wait until my father yells at me before you're happy?" "Get in, Caleb," Julian said from the back seat, playing the peacemaker perfectly.
Elena is just stressed because the general scolded her. Don't hold it against her. Let's go to the diner in town, Elena said stiffly, noticing my silence. She offered a dry explanation. I wasn't lying about being busy. Julian's best friend was deployed on a suicide mission today. It hit him hard. I promised his late wife I'd take care of him. I owe him that. She thought Julian needed comforting for a friend's deployment. She forgot that I had lost both parents in the span of 10 days. Last night, having just learned of my father's death, I had begged her to stay on the phone with me. I didn't want to be alone, didn't want to look out at a city of 1,000,000 lights, knowing not a single one burned for me. But Elena hadn't even listened. She hung up impatiently. In my past life, it was the same. She claimed there was nothing between her and Julian, yet time and again she abandoned me when I was sick or grieving. She said that coming from a military family, she would never betray her vows, so she danced on the line of betrayal, using gratitude as a shield to get close to Julian.
My son had to bow his head to Leo Blackwood. Half our income went to subsidize Julian's household. I had endured too much. I was tired. In the past, every "it's okay" drained my soul. Now I said it calmly. "It's okay. Julian's wife died for you. You should do this." I smiled to ease the tension in the car. Elena let out a long breath. When we arrived at the diner, she awkwardly tried to be nice. "Order whatever you want. Don't go telling my dad I'm starving you." Julian listed off a bunch of expensive appetizers. I sat down quietly, but the food had barely hit the table when Julian suddenly slapped the table and stood up. "Damn it! I forgot I have a meeting with a contact. Elena, you guys eat. I need to go." He feigned a retreat. Elena looked at me. "Julian, the food is here. Eat first, then go." "Okay." It was the first time she had ever seemingly prioritized our dinner. Julian looked anxiously toward the door. "It's fine, Elena. I'll handle it." Even though we agreed to do this dinner together, he didn't want to go alone. I'd seen this play 1,000 times. It was all to provoke me. A few words, and he would not only get Elena's defense, but also enjoy my humiliation. And every time, Elena fell for it. "I'll drive you. You stay here and wait for me," she said to me. This time was no exception. Elena grabbed her keys and chased after him. The large diner booth was left with just me and a table full of cooling food. The last time I was abandoned like this was on a rainy night. It was my birthday. The general had specifically asked Elena to bring me to dinner at the officers' club to introduce us as a couple. Just as the appetizers arrived, Julian called. Leo had a fever. No matter that the general yelled or that there were other doctors, Elena left. I became the laughingstock of the base. The officers' wives comforted me to my face, but whispered behind my back that a hillbilly like me should have known better to reach for a Vance. That night I went home in despair, only to find the telegram about my mother's death. I heard she had died trying to walk to town to get medicine, hoping to call me for my birthday. In my past life, I naively thought Elena would stand by me through that tragedy. I learned later that Julian was her childhood crush. His wife's death was her opportunity. Why would she waste time on me? The two of them walked out the door. Julian turned back to shoot me a smug grin before taking Elena's arm. I signaled the waitress. "Just me eating tonight." Outside, the sky opened up, rain lashing against the glass. This time, I didn't wait. I paid the bill and walked out into the storm. Instead of waiting for an umbrella that wasn't mine, I'd rather face the rain and forge my own steel. By the time Elena returned to the diner, it was pitch black. The rain was still drizzling. The waitress pointed to the empty booth. "I need to heat those up. Your friend left hours ago." Elena shook her head blankly. In the past, if she told me to wait, I would wait until the sun burned out. Why'd I leave this time? A strange sense of loss washed over her as she sat back in her SUV. The next day, I left early before she could question me. My childhood friend, Buck, was waiting for me at the edge of the estate grounds with a bag of biscuits from back home. I smiled and hugged him. "Just you? Where's the fiancé?" Buck asked, looking behind me. His face fell. Caleb, give it to me straight. Are the Vances treating you bad? I heard from the sheriff you're taking the exams for that Alaska